JB Mathers back. I want to thank Drew Gorder for subbing in last week and appreciate it for him letting me get back in the saddle. Big show as always. Coach Weise, home regatta this weekend. Be there, bring some coffee or whatever you want in your thermos. Then we're going old school. Drew Petersen swings by. We're pumping a little iron. Shannon Childs to get us fixed up so we aren't broken too bad. See what life is like then versus now for student athletes. And then Madi Gomez finishing strong on the softball diamond. It's Humboldt All-Axess. It is crew time, talking to Coach Weise. Coach, great weekend up in Seattle. Crew team of the week in the GNAC. You're a coach, so I know you're not completely satisfied, but overall, solid weekend?
Overall, it's a solid weekend. You know, most of it early on is you're learning. And the varsity four, we actually had different personnel. We did some switching to see who's faster between one crew and another, and they both won, which was nice. It's nice to have that kind of thing happen. Yes, whoever we want to put in there. Yeah, and the 8 had a great morning race, and then the afternoon they lost by 2 seconds, which isn't a whole lot over the course of 7.5 minutes, and they were in position. They just need to learn how to close the deal. So part of it as a coach, you learn where are the holes, what do we need to work on, and so we're working on those things. And
so what are those things that you're early in the season now? Yeah. What are the biggest steps this squad needs to take to get to that final?
So part of what rowers have to do is they have to take an entire stroke. So it's hard when you're taking 36 strokes a minute, right? It's a stroke every second and a half or so. They've got to put an oar in the water while the boat's moving as fast as it's moving. There's timing. There's a lot of skill involved, so they have to learn that skill. At the ratings, you don't get a lot of time to play at all these race ratings because it's hard. Right. It fatigues them, so we have to take our time. So we only have small opportunities to do it. So we're at the point now where they have to learn some skills at some higher cadences.
So is it like a pack of buffalo? The herd only goes as quick as the slowest rower? Or talk about that, because I'm sure for some, 1.5 seconds is too quick, and for others, Coach, can't we speed it up?
Yes. Most of it is there was a couple of things that happened on the race courses. They again rode a little short, so they weren't quite at their full length. And then when they needed to sprint, they don't have that skill yet either. So they've got to bring the cadence up even higher to sprint. And what they did is they brought the cadence up but not the speed up with it. So they just couldn't close it. They were right there. And again, what I really love about this team is they see that and they're working on it. It's not, oh gosh, the season's over. They are very motivated to make progressions, and they have been all year. So I feel we're in a really good place, I think.
All right, the Lone Home Regatta is this weekend, Saturday. First off, as we talk about, let's talk the nuts and bolts, right? You've got 8-man, you got 4-man. Yeah. What are the teams and races that will actually take place on Saturday? Let's start there, so when we show up, we can actually pretend what we know.
Pretend you know what you're doing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a lifestyle choice.
Right. So if you want to start early, the fastest races are going to go right away. So we start at 8 a.m. That's when what's called the varsity 8s. Those are the top boats in the program. Men's and women's will go at 8 and 8:20. It's in the cleanest water. The water will be flat. The tide is not raging. And so those will be the first races. So if you really want to see rowing at a high level, get there early. And then what happens throughout the day is we have novice events, which are first-year rowers. We have novice 4s. We have a novice 8. So those are just different, just how many people are in a boat. We actually have pairs, which so there's a pairs and a doubles race. So this is where you'll really learn on your knowledge. Pairs it's a 2-person boat, but they each have 1 oar. Okay. And a double is a 2-person boat. They each have 2 oars. So here or 1. Okay. And so we'll have races for that. So there's a little bit of smattering of everything, and there's also all different levels of rowing. So you've got Division 1, St. Mary's is coming up to races. We've got Sac State Club team is coming up for the men. We've got University of Puget Sound, Division 3, Lewis and Clark, Division 3, Pacific University, who is Division, I can't remember if they're
Division 1, I think.
Division 1, I think.
Right?
Yeah. So we've got a lot of different levels of rowing from club to D1. It's a fun way to kind of see all of the rowing.
That's all. And then what are we talking? How much time in between races?
Yeah,
it's like horse racing. Got to wait 35 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, come with a cup of coffee and some friends. Every 20 minutes we start a race. So it's not bang bang bang. It takes a little while to get everything set up out there. We're fighting the tides and we're doing all of those things, so we got to get everybody lined up. So it takes about 20 minutes in between races, and we'll have an announcer out there, and there'll be a lot of people. So again, bring your morning coffee and maybe a snack, and It's like a tailgate without having to go into a
Well,
stadium.
I know Drew. I've asked him for a while. He's going to have a nice little tailgate media set up for some of us. So we can come. And then how long is the event going to go for?
Yeah, the last race goes off at 11:40.
Okay.
So we'll be done right around noon.
Perfect. You can go right on to lunch afterwards. Now, with that said, look, usually you're on the road. You're getting your team ready and the conditions. Now you got to also put on your hosting hat. That's got to eat up a lot of time.
It eats up a lot of time, but it's fun. It's nice. We traveled the last 2 weekends. It's nice to be home. There is a little bit of breathe time because it's hard when you're leaving Thursdays, coming back Sundays. It's a lot easier when it's home.
Yeah, waking up in your own bed Saturday, even though it'll be early.
That's right. Exactly.
Hey, whenever.
Yeah.
What makes a good home meet? Like when you go and you see other places, you're like, okay, I like what they did. Didn't care for what they did. So obviously you're going to want to try to put on a good host event. What to you are the keys?
I think there's a couple of things. That we have a balcony right at the finish line, which we kind of use as a VIP area, but we live stream the event, which is great. Drew has been doing a great job of getting us ready for that. So all the events will be live streamed so people can watch them.
Right?
So because you can't see much of the race when you're there, so you can watch until you can see it, and then you can cheer them on the rest of the way. So that's the big deal. When you can live stream like that, people can actually see the whole race coming down. They see how it unfolds. And then if you're up on the balcony, it's even better. And it gets loud at the finish line, so all the crowd is all at the finish line. They can make a lot of noise.
And we're talking Humboldt Bay for the record.
Humboldt Bay Aquatic Center. Yeah, Humboldt Bay Aquatic Center.
Good luck.
Appreciate it. Yeah, thank you.
All right, crew, home regatta. Let's go Jack. Oh, it's a pleasure for our annual visit. I know he loves it. Drew Petersen, one and only strength and conditioning coach in year number
36. I don't know if that's a good thing, but 36.
I think it is a good thing. First and foremost, how have you seen strength and conditioning change over that time? And how have you seen things change here besides the obvious?
Well, I mean, that's a great question because things have changed really in the last 5 years with the portal and the NIL. You used to get kids in and you could develop them and get to know them. You had time, right? You could take time with the process. You developed them that first year and you knew the plan was going to be each year adding a little bit more. Well, the NIL and the portal is kind of throwing that right out of the window. We got to get them better right now. It's kind of like a coach coming in and thinking they need 5 to 7 years to develop a program. That isn't a luxury anymore. We got to get good right now. So I think that the process is rushed. The kids are always looking for the next best step and a lot of times not realizing that next best step is right here. And kudos to the coaches for having to deal with that. I was just talking to Coach Broom and I talked with Coach Bento Jackson. It's almost like you're re-recruiting your roster now, trying to get them to stay. And I think what you don't see in that is all you hear are the people moving up, right? You don't hear how many people get left holding the bag.
Somebody's got to be coming down if somebody's going up, right?
And even now coming down, there's only the supply and demand, right? I mean, the demand is not near as high as the supply. And so a lot of times you go to the portal hoping for greener pastures and you're left out with nothing.
Okay, I'm just going to, and I don't know if he's in the transfer portal, none of that stuff. So I'm just going to throw it out there. Let's take a Xavier Vineyard, really good player like us. What advice would you give to someone like that who's got opportunities to maybe go somewhere else of why it's good to remain where you're at, and that place being Cal Poly Humboldt?
That's a tough one. I mean, how could you not want to be here after what DJ and CV and KJ did with that first year program? And we made a big splash. And it's ironic that I commend Coach Broom. Hey, congratulations on a great season, getting us into the tournament, getting us into the playoffs. He said, well, that's the standard. That's what we always did when I was here.
Yeah, his didn't get lowered like ours did.
Yeah, our standards have gotten pretty low over the years, but with Xavier, such a talent. He's so long and athletic, and he can take over a game, and you stay here and you're the face of the program. And he's good enough, he could go and play at a lot of places, but again, you got to reestablish yourself. Here you're established, you're the face of the program. Help these coaches take it to the next level and spend a year with the off season with these guys. The fact that they put together a roster in 6 weeks and at the end of the year we're third in a very competitive conference and making some noise in the region. Come here and be the face of the program. That would be my spiel to Xavier,
and face of the community with that.
Absolutely.
It's funny, and I think about it now. I think back at my illustrious tenure here as a student athlete, which was very forgettable. But even for me, Coach, after spending 3 seasons there, it took me a while to warm up to the weight room and realize, hey, this is what it's about, and building trust and really going from, An evil to embracing something that was huge. And look, I'm not playing football anymore, but I still try to get in and throw a little iron around time for time.
Absolutely. It's the base of athletic success. It doesn't make you a better basketball player, it makes you a better athlete. What makes you a better basketball player is working on basketball, going to practice, working on your skills. With the weight room, the strength is running faster, jumping higher, less susceptible to injury. So it's really the one way away from their performance that they can improve their skills and their overall potential the most. And it takes no talent, just got to come in and do the work. I think that you talked about the growing pains you had. People mistake working out and training. Everybody can get in and work out and do I tell our female soccer players, you can be the soccer mom workout or the soccer player workout. Soccer mom workouts for later, and with the soccer guys, we call it the performance workout, the pro workout, or the bro workout. It's fine to do both, and I tell them it's the look good exercises don't necessarily help you play good. The be good exercises will help you play good and look good. So keep it in perspective. And again, we talk about our restricted time frame with them now. It takes a year for somebody to get that and buy into it. And the first time they get out and get a ball that they never did, or they come back from an injury faster, or they don't get injured, they realize that's the weight room. But now our dilemma is trying to speed that up, speed the process up to where they get it in a couple weeks. And that's easier said than done.
Our auction is right around the corner. Robert Prince, I'm excited to meet. I mean, what this guy has done as a Humboldt football alumni and then in the National Football League. He is our honorary speaker. What can you tell us about Robert and his time here?
Yeah, we crossed over just briefly.
Okay.
We were both grad assistants. And so back in the day, that was your apprenticeship. You came in and you worked 40, 50, 60 hours a week doing a job. They paid you peanuts for it, and you went to school full time. And so we had a pretty tight bond. And at that point too, most of the programs relied on grad assistants as their assistant coaches. And so Robert was a football GA. I remember being a tremendous player here. I remember a touchdown pass he had in the Redwood Bowl against UC Davis. Special moments like that, right? But then I just remember the grind that those guys were on because, the game gets over, and lots of times we play Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening games. Their night's not over. They're not going out and partying and being the happy-go-lucky guys. They're breaking down film. They're getting the practice plans ready to go. I mean, it really is. If you stick with coaching after that, you got to really love it. And it's funny to hear guys like Nick Saban and Kirby Smart. They all have that same story of starting as a GA. Well, Rob, he did it here. RP, we called him Rob Prince. And he was tremendous here, and to watch him go and have that successful career that he has. He's such a humble, personable guy too. That's not surprising that teams would gravitate towards that because he truly would be a player's coach. And the novelty of his experience, all the different teams, and the crossover, you're going to carry that interview just like you do with all of our functions.
I'm just going to toss in the softballs.
He was in Detroit at the same time as Taylor Boggs. And just the two of them became good friends because here's two Humboldt guys that shouldn't be anywhere near an NFL program. And one is a player, one is a coach. And so it'll be a lot of fun to have Rob come back and share his war stories and just what most of these kids do. Our soccer players that are coming back, their love for Humboldt and what makes this place so special.
Crazy 30 years ago was the first soccer program. And you got plenty of insights on that. But Coach, you're saved by the bell, out of time. And I want to thank those hardworking coaches because they also taught me what I didn't want to do with my career.
There you go. Yeah, you made the right choice.
Coach Petersen, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Back after these messages. Oh, it is just throwback day. I'm loving it. First, Drew Petersen, now Shannon Childs, and two guys who are already here when I showed up many, many years ago. So I think Drew said year 36. What year is this for Shannon Childs?
24.
And you, like Drew, started as a GA, or take us way back when it all started.
Yeah, actually, so if you count the GA years, it's going to be 26 years. So I started grad student back in 2000. So been part of the athletics community here for quite some time.
And a question I like to ask everybody, so why Humboldt?
Real story?
Yeah. I mean, you're a long way from San Bernardino, Shannon.
Chased a girlfriend.
There we go. You marry her?
No.
All Well, lucked out because I know you met your wife here.
Absolutely.
So that
Absolutely.
worked out. What brought you into athletic training?
You know what? I really didn't know what I wanted to do, to be honest. You know, I came here and I think I signed up for communications major because I had to pick something.
Right.
And then I'm like, oh, this sucks. I don't like talking in front of people, and this isn't good. And then I remember back when I was in high school, I went to the local athletic trainer at the junior college. And back then, you had the catalog, it was this thick to flip through with all the majors and the classes. And I came across athletic training, and I'm like, oh, that's what I did back then. I could do that. That's awesome. Walked in the training room and never left.
And now was that Mike Davis? Was that Sid Kinzer? A combination? Who were the Shannon Childs of their time?
It was Dave Kinzer and Mike Davis.
Okay.
Mike Davis was the football guy back then, and Dave Kinzer was the academic guy, but they kind of worked together covering stuff, and fantastic mentors, taught me everything I know.
And then, so how did that adjustment come from you being a young protege to, taking the reins of the athletic department? Because I don't think it was too much longer, correct?
No, it was right place, right time. You know, Mike Davis, he took a job at junior college over in Shasta and left a hole, and I had been here and worked my butt off, and they've had some trust in me, and I filled the hole in, and that's how it happened. So right place, right time, that helps.
Talk about, trust me, I know how that goes. Just talk about, it was funny talking to Drew Petersen about how things have changed. How has the training room changed over the years in regards to really the student athletes?
The student athletes, they've changed a lot, to be honest with you. The dungeon's the dungeon. So those old athletes that have been in the training room back in the 90s and 2000s, you're going to walk in, it's going to look the same. But the athletes change. But that's part of the fun with the job is every year the athletes do change, so you get a new group, and, the times change, and whether it's social media and the way they interact, and, even after COVID, I think there's been a change in the student athletes. So it's been interesting to watch the transition evolution of students through the years, for sure.
So Drew talked about really the transfer portal being the biggest thing he's changed, is where guys and gals don't have that opportunity to build year in, year out. So what's that like for you? I know you're trying to get them healthy, but it's got to be tough with relationships and expectations of what's expected of them and what they can expect of you.
For sure, and the transfer portal, it hits us too, because we get that 1 year kid who jumped in the portal, and they come here, and we got to find out what baggage they have and what injuries they've had, and how we can work through that to help them be successful and help the teams be successful. So that's huge. So we feel that as well, and you work with kids, the kid here is a freshman, they're 17, 18, and then in the past, they'd be here till they were 22, 23, so you really get to know them. And we still have those, but we get a lot more of the ones that are here for a year, 2 years, or they're here for a year, then they leave, right? So that turnover transition has definitely impacted the relationships, I'd say, within the department in athletics.
Talk about the relationships with the coaches, and I'm sure a lot of the players are going to lean on the coaches on what the training room means to them in the program. And then also talk about that fine line of, I don't want to say who you work for, but you've got to protect players. You've also got to, help the coaches out and seeing where players are ready. And so I'm sure some players are, maybe, I don't say a menace, but a detriment to themselves because they may not be hurt and think they're hurt, or the exact opposite. Yeah. They may be like, oh, I can tough this out, but it's like, whoa, you're injured.
Yeah, it's tough. End of the day, my main job is to make sure our student athletes are healthy, right, and safe. But then also, our job is to help them fulfill their goals while they're here, right? And to that end, that does help the coaches fulfill their job of winning and have successful seasons. So we all work together to achieve the same goal. But sometimes you're right, we do have to protect the student athletes from themselves, and there's the tough times. They say, look, this is something that we got to be smart with. And it might just be for a week here so you can play the rest of the season, or sometimes it's longer, you never know. But that's the hard part of the job. The fun part of the job is watching them compete, participate, and keep them out there, and watching them do what they love and be successful. That's the fun part of the job.
Yeah, I was going to ask that because, you guys travel with the teams, you obviously build relationships with these players. So how much fun is it for you to get out there and, I know you're not having pom-poms on a chair, but you gotta like when they're getting wins.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I've said it for years. I'm one of the biggest fans, right? I'm a fan of them personally. I'm a fan of them academically. I'm a fan of them with their sport, and then the program in general. I've seen a lot of student athletes go through the program and made some really good lifelong connections with some of those athletes that were back here for years back, and then they come back and it's like it's a reunion, so those are always fun. But yeah, a huge fan. we try and stay a little, keep it down a little bit so we're not hooting and hollering and rooting so much. But on the inside, it's definitely happening.
Well, Shannon, it's always great to have you on for an annual visit. And folks, he's the best, and he will get you what you need to know. I stopped seeing Shannon when the last time I was injured, and I saw him. I said, Shannon, what happened? He said, well, JB, it's a bad combination of you're old and overweight. Appreciate your time as always, Shannon. Back after this.
Thanks, man.
Last, definitely not least, and someone who's just ecstatic to be on here, Mari Gomez. Mari, thanks for stopping by.
Of course, thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you on. Lumberjacks finally got some home games last week. You took 3 of 4. How nice was it just to not be on the road?
Oh, it was so nice. We had 25 away games, so to just be home and not be somewhere I don't know is really nice. It was really good.
What's it like being on a 25 game? I mean, I know you guys came home and back and forth a lot, but at some point, that's got to be a bit of a grind knowing we're on the road again.
Yeah, for sure. It was good. It was good to just know, okay, well, we can go on home turf. This is the first time we played Dominguez Hills at home since, I think, 2019, or on our actual field. I think it's 2015. So it was really nice to be able to play them on our actual field, and especially take 3 out of 4 games from them, especially from a high-ranking team.
Yeah, what was it like just being at home, waking up on game day in your own bed? Not having to be on a bus.
Mm-hmm. It was so nice. I got to wake up a little bit later than usual. If we're on a travel trip, I'll usually wake up at 6 or 5 a.m. This time I got to wake up at 9. So it was really nice, and I got to eat breakfast, sit down, talk to my roommates. It was really nice, and the environment was just super nice. So my family came. I got to see everyone else's family. I got to see the alumni. It really shows the community we have here in Humboldt. It was really nice to see everyone.
And what did you think about the home turf? Because I imagine it's also got to be a little nerve-wracking too, because we got to defend this house.
Yeah. I usually played at Bear River last year as a freshman. It was the weather was a lot worse last year, but this year it was really sunny, so it was nice to finally have a home series back at our actual field. It was super nice, and it kind of gave me a sense of protecting. I wanted to protect the legacy and really prove ourselves this year.
Yeah, talk about what that means, because you're a youngster, you're new to the program as a sophomore. It does have a strong legacy, and there's a very strong alumni base that comes from a very winning culture. So what's it like when you talk to the old heads?
I hear a lot of stories about we haven't made playoffs the last 5 years just by missing 1 game, and talking to them, you can see the passion and how badly they wanted it. And so by hearing all the stories, it's okay, I want to be able to do that I want to be able to do that for them, and make playoffs and go as far as we can, maybe win conference. So it gives you kind of a sense of protection and want to win for these people who put so much into our community and into our team.
All right, with that said, you took 3 of 4. What was the keys to success to beat a very good Dominguez Hills team?
I think our energy and our communication was just so good this weekend. We had a lot of I think we were very loose this weekend. I think last weekend against SF we weren't as loose, and we didn't play as together as we should. I think this week we took all we did from last week and really put it together. Our energy was really good. You could see that through just watching the game. It was always really loud, and I think and just our communication, we have a lot of players hurt, and we're having a lot of movement on our field, and no matter what, we still were able to play good no matter where anyone was on the field.
We'll talk about that, because you will play anywhere basically on the infield. Utility players, I like to call it, old school term there. But what's it like? Do you have a preference, or just knowing that coach can fill you in wherever she needs you around the diamond?
Yeah, I'm really comfortable with playing different positions. I can play any position on the field, so I think some days I'll practice second base the entire day, and the next day it's hey, put on the gear you're catching. So I think she makes it easy to be flexible, and my teammates make it easy to just have confidence in me to play wherever I need to be. And I think the same thing goes for my other teammates. If they need to play another position, I have enough trust in them to make whatever play they need to.
I mean, that's night and day going from second base to catcher. Talk about that transition, and how did you come up as a catcher? Where did you pick up those skills? Because look, it's one thing to play second, short, third, first gets a little different.
Yeah.
But catcher, look, you see catcher to first base maybe, and that's about it.
Yeah. I actually had never caught. I caught my senior year of high school, and coach was like, all right, we might need another catcher when you come up here. So I was like, you know what, I'll do it. I'll strap on the gear. So I strapped on the gear when I came up here, and I played a couple of games last year, and I haven't played since. And then this year I kind of had to come back into it. So it's really different going from, I was actually a third baseman when I came up here, so the transformation from going to third to second base was a little difficult for me, just because like I'm going from 60 feet like really close and they're hitting it as hard as they can, to second base where I have a little bit more time, and now you go into like behind the plate where it's like, okay, this girl can foul ball straight into your hand.
Yeah,
You're just like, oh, yeah.
Hard pass for me on that one. With that said, on the road again this weekend, what do the Jacks need to do to take that success, that momentum, keep it rolling? Because there's so many good teams in your conference. If you guys can, make a push, get in the conference tournament, I mean, sky's the limit.
Yeah. I think against East Bay this weekend, they're a very high-ranking team, and they have a high-ranking pitcher. I think
3 in the nation. Right?
Yep, it's crazy. So I think we have to go into the same mindset we did against Western Washington, where it was a high-ranking team, and we went in and we said, okay, this team's really good. We have to play up to their level and play even better than they did. And I think we have to do the same thing with East Bay, except we have to do it 4 times. So I think we have to just keep up the energy and communication and just trust in our team, and whoever's out there, just know that we'll play our hardest to win.
A girl from Elk Grove up to Humboldt, what's your favorite part about being on the North Coast? Besides softball, of course.
Right. Maybe the nature, the weather. I think the weather recently, maybe not last year, but this year's been really sunny, really nice. So the nature is a lot more easier to want to go outside and walk around.
Mother Nature's got your back, and we love it. Hey, appreciate you coming by, and we learned your position should just say gamer on your baseball card. Good job.
Thank you.
Another great edition of Humboldt All-Axess. We'll see everyone next week.